Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and iOS 13 Public Beta 1 has been out for a few days, and iOS 13 Developer Beta 2, which is the exact same thing, same build number, has been out for almost a couple of weeks now. And I've been running both of them on different devices. I've been using my XS Max primarily with iOS 13 on it. I also have the iPhone XR and the iPad Pro 12.9, the current generation. So I wanted to talk about my experience with it, your experience with it based off the YouTube community poll, and I'm going to split this video into a couple different parts. So I'll have an iPhone section, iPad section, and then at the end we'll cover the YouTube community poll comments. Now, the first thing is, this is a fairly buggy experience for me, and many people keep asking me, should I install it? And the answer is very different for a lot of people. Apple has said there's over 100 known bugs, and for me, there's probably about 4 or 5 in particular, the main one being that iMessage doesn't even work. So iMessage on my XS Max, that's why I took my SIM card out of it. I've actually restored this. It hasn't worked, and if it doesn't continue to work after beta 3 comes out, I'll just wipe the phone and start over again. And that's the dangers of betas. Sometimes you have great experiences, sometimes you don't. And I expect beta 3 or developer beta 3 to come out probably on July 1st or 2nd. The 4th is a holiday in the United States, so I would expect the 1st or 2nd unless they push it to the 8th, which would be very unusual for 3 weeks between betas. So I'm looking forward to that, but I've had a okay experience. As far as battery life goes, that's kind of not as relevant as far as the experience of a beta, since this is an early beta and Apple isn't going to focus on battery, but I'm getting about 5 hours. It's not very good, and it's very bad on an iPad, about 5 hours as well. So that part in particular is not great. I've also had Wi-Fi issues. In fact, Wi-Fi connectivity is pretty good most of the time as far as the signal strength, but even on the XR, it really doesn't matter. Switching between LTE and Wi-Fi seems pretty buggy this time around for me, where I could have a great signal, try and go into something as simple as the App Store, and it just won't even work. So it won't load. I'll have to turn on airport mode or airplane mode and turn it back off. Now, quite a few of you have asked me as well, before I cover a couple other bugs, how do I go from the developer beta to the public beta? And if you want to do that, there's really no reason to do that right now. But if you want to do that, all you need to do is remove the developer profile, install the public beta profile, and when the next version comes out, you'll get the update. So it's pretty simple to move over if you want to do that. Now, another bug that I have is changing wallpaper. So sometimes when I change wallpaper, maybe I go into an image, like this one here. This is the wallpaper from today. Of course, I'll link it in the description as I always do. But this particular wallpaper looks to be working fine. But if I go in here and maybe want to go into wallpaper and say use as wallpaper and set it, sometimes it will respring the phone. So that means the phone essentially reboots the home screen and then comes back up. Also, sometimes when I go to the same thing, maybe in a web browser, it will show up black and white. So there's some weird bugs in there for me. That's nothing that's going to stop me from using it other than this iMessage issue where I just can't get it fixed. But there's that issue. And then also when I use voice dictation, which I use it often everywhere from messages to Twitter to replying to comments on YouTube, after about 2 or 3, sometimes 5 tries, it will crash the app. It's consistent. I can reproduce it probably 1 in 5 or 1 in 10 tries. It will crash the app every single time. Other than that, though, it's been okay for me. So it's been fine for me on that. And then on the XR, the experience is the same. The same is true of the 6S Plus for me. They're all about the same as far as bugginess for me personally. Now, as far as what you are saying about iOS 13 is WhatsApp is having some issues. Some people are saying there's text overlay issues. Also, people are saying Spotify is crashing after every song, and then they have to start it up again. Now, I don't use either of those apps regularly, so I haven't experienced that, but that's where this YouTube community poll comes in, and quite a few of you have experienced this same issue. So I took the top issues and put them in a list. And also, many of you have said you've been unable to use the cast feature to a Chromecast. So maybe you're in a video app such as YouTube, and you want to play the video and cast it to a TV or a Chromecast. It's not working for you. Also, the YouTube app has been buggy for many people, and a lot of banking apps aren't working as well. And then the last thing that a lot of people are saying is the stock mail app. If you're using the Apple Mail app, it keeps giving them problems as well. So there's a lot of little bugs. Some of those may be a big deal for some, not as big of a deal for others. If you wanted to downgrade, I did make a video on how to do that. So if you want to downgrade, make sure you have a backup and then you can downgrade. Now let's talk about the iPad for just a moment. There isn't a lot of bugs that I have, but I do have a major bug. And the major bug that I have with the iPad is touch responsiveness. So before I went to make this video, I always change the display so it doesn't shut off. I'll go in touch settings and you'll see there it didn't work for a second. And in order to fix that, I actually have to turn the display off, turn it back on, unlock it, and then it works again. So it's kind of strange. Sometimes the scrolling won't work. Sometimes it just locks up all over the place. And that's the main issue that I have with the iPad. Also, I find that the iPad restarts a lot when it goes to sleep. So I use this with the keyboard cover. The keyboard cover will be on when I'm not using it. I'll come back and it will make me log back in because it has said it has restarted. That could be while I'm plugging it in and using it, which I think was an issue around iOS 12's release, but this keeps having that issue now as well. Other than that, though, battery life on it, this has been on iOS 13 since it came out. And let's go to battery life quick, and I'll show you what it's like. It's not great for me. With about 50% left, I'm getting about 3 hours of usage, 3 hours and 17 minutes. And so I use it for YouTube a lot and other things. And I'm getting about 5 hours on an iPad, which is actually quite bad. Now, the YouTube community poll had record responses, which is great because it gives us an idea of how it's doing for so many people. So 17,000 people voted on this community poll, so I really appreciate it. And you'll see, let me refresh it. It's at 17,461 responses, and I've read every one of them. In fact, before I made this video, it took about an hour or so and read through every single issue, and that's how I compiled that list with a bunch of problems earlier. So it gives us an idea how it is for everyone, and it's really hit or miss. It doesn't depend on the device that you have. It just seems to be buggy overall, or quite good for some people. 18% of you here said that it was great. So 18% of people have had a great experience with iOS 13 public beta. And then 5% said it was terrible, which is actually pretty average for betas, so that's not bad. And then 27% said okay, but some bugs, and then 50% said I'm not using the beta. And I put this option here to give us an idea of how many people are actually not using it. So 50% that respond to these polls are using it, 50% are not, and overall 17,000 votes is pretty good. So I really appreciate that response. Now, like I said, I read through every one of these, but I'm going to read about 10 comments and I'll just pick them randomly because over 450 of them, there are varying experiences. Some people are having a great experience. Quite a few people are, and then quite a few people are having bad experiences with everything from battery to other things. So you'll see here, I'm on iPhone 10 and it's okay with some bugs, but okay, roll on beta 3. Anyway, hope 3D is not gone. So I think you mean 3D touch. I'm assuming that's what you mean, but anyway, if I hearted your comment, you'll know that I actually responded to it as well. So YouTube is not working well. Like I said, I've got quite a few people saying that. Let's see. Beta 2 is pathetic as it has a lot of bugs in mail, call drops, and hiccups. Menu apps, I think that's supposed to be many apps crash at all times or at times. So quite a few issues, like I said. I'm on Dev Beta 2 on my iPhone 10, and it's an awesome upgrade from iOS 12, but have some bugs and crash apps, but it's usable very well. Wait for the next beta. Using on my iPad 6th gen, performance is great, battery life is good to me, multitasking is also great, also pretty good, but few bugs on apps like the App Store, crash while playing Fortnite, I don't know, but YouTube app is so buggy and laggy, maybe it's just me. One thing I didn't mention is performance. Performance has been really good, other than those stuttering issues I'm having with the iPad Pro. The performance is quite good. Face ID is very, very good and super fast. So they're doing a good job there, especially for an early beta. Overall, it's been great on my 10R. A few bugs, but nothing majorly annoying. Battery life is still stellar. So like I said, I'm not having great battery life. I'm having okay battery life, but some people are having different experiences. Now, I wanted to show you this at the top here. These are the most voted comments or most popular. 38 people voted, said they have literally zero problems on the beta on my 10R. The battery life is phenomenal and the swiping keyboard is better than any I've used. I'm very pleasantly surprised. Then 21 people said 10s Max, really buggy on connections, Wi-Fi, LTE, and Bluetooth work really bad. Then we've got others that say I'm not using the public beta, but dev beta 2, which has been supposedly confirmed to be the same. It is exactly the same, actually. I find it has a noticeable amount of bugs on the 10S. However, it is still more usable, and overall, my experience is better than 12.4 despite the bugs. So here's what I'm finding through going through all these comments, like I said before, is if you have one of the newer devices that has Face ID, I find that it's more buggy than if you don't. If you have a device such as an iPhone 6S Plus, 6S, 7, SE, most people are saying it's less buggy. I don't know if there's something to do with Face ID there or not. Let's read a couple more. 8 Plus can't get on my mobile bank. That is the only complaint right now. Everything else runs smooth. To those who are saying they can't watch YouTube on their own playlists, just swipe right, then it should work. I panicked when this happened too. So that's a nice little tip there. Appreciate that. And let's read 2 more. It has improved the overall speed of my device, the iPhone 6S. The keyboard freezes sometimes, but it is expected in betas. My Wi-Fi and cellular connection is good. So that's a good sign. And then running an iPhone 7 Plus and an iPad Air 2, just a few glitches in third-party app and OS. Otherwise, it is fine to use. So this is a great experience for most people. Like I said, I think most people are pretty happy with iOS 13 and iPad OS, and it seems to be a good experience for most. But thanks again for voting in that YouTube community poll. I'll continue to do those since so many people seem to like to participate in it. And of course, like I said, even if I didn't read your comment here, I have already read it. And let me know if you'd like me to just give it a heart after I've read it. And then, I'll go through all of them. It'll take me a while, but I do read them, like I said. So let me know your thoughts on that. And if you'd like to see a different device next time, let me know in the comments below as well. Maybe a different iPad or a different iPhone. Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and hit that notification bell if you'd like to see the videos as soon as they come out. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Again, I'll link that wallpaper in the description as I always do. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.